Alright, so I've had this thing for at least 2 days now, and I already did do a delid of it. I only delidded the GPU. I didn't delid the CPU yet. I do plan on eventually doing that, but I'm only going to do that when I feel competent enough. I have a method in mind I'm going to be using, and it's going to be using fishing line of all things. But like I said, I'm not going to do that until I feel competent enough. I should actually put a little timestamp somewhere in this video where I actually do the delid, because I think that's probably the more interesting part of this video, excluding me taking this thing apart and cleaning out all the dead bugs and whatnot. But I just want to put this at the very beginning to say, hey, that the console is in full working order. I did do a delid, and as of right now, everything seems to still be functioning as it should. I've yet to play Killzone 3 on this thing after I did a delid, because I've been playing Minecraft. And okay, why did it do that? I guess the Wi-Fi card crapped out for a second. Well, I mean, it's still a PS3 after all. If it craps out like that, it's gonna crap out like that, but generally speaking, everything seems to be fine. It's still making noise, which is to be expected considering this is a fat PS3. Maybe once I delid the CPU, the thing will be more quiet. But like I said, I'm not going to do that until I feel more competent. So with that said, I'm going to have fun with the console version of Minecraft, which is the original version of Minecraft I actually got into. And the other versions of Minecraft I tend to play on are Java, and that is of course Anarchy servers. So it's going to be real interesting to play actual vanilla Minecraft without any stupid mod menu or anything like that. Well, looks like I'm going to be deleting the CPU also, unfortunately. It sounds like a jet engine. Definitely not looking forward to that, but the fishing line method I was talking about should do the job. Well, for $60, I got myself a fat PS3, and just like all fat PS3s that are this old, it sounds like a literal jet engine. So this one needs to be deleted, unfortunately. Obviously, I'm not going to do that because I've never done that and I do not feel competent enough to do it. But what I am going to do is I'm going to replace the original 40 gig drive that's in this thing and place in a 500 to hopefully help with loading times and whatnot, and also give this thing more storage. And then once I make sure that all works, then I'm going to take it completely apart, do a nice de-dusting of the heatsink and everything else, and then reapply thermal paste on the actual IHS and the heatsink itself. I will eventually do a delid, but I'm only going to do that when I feel competent enough. There is one method that uses a fishing string of all things that seems to do the job, so I'm probably going to do that when it comes to the CPU. The GPU, on the other hand, seems to come apart real easily. So I'm going to be doing the GPU first, which again is the easiest one. And then I'm going to use fishing string and whatnot to remove the IHS on the CPU. But like I said, I'm not going to do that in this video. I'm mostly just going to place in the 500 gig drive. Let's see. Also take the thing apart, clean it and whatnot, reapply thermal paste, and yeah. Oh yeah, another thing to note is that I've actually been on the home screen, wherever you call it, for the PS3, and all I had to do to actually get the console to sound like a jet engine was just do a little stress testing with Killzone 3. Personally, I would like to have GTA 5, but unfortunately Game Exchange had no GTA 5 copies for the PS3, so I was stuck with this game here. But at least it's one of the more demanding games, and it's doing exactly what I wanted to do. Push this console and see if it can handle it. And so far it's handling it, but still, it sounds like an utter jet engine. I want to try and somewhat resolve this issue. Yeah, I can definitely say the hard drive's going bad. I'm currently copying my world save of Minecraft because it's actually a pretty interesting little seed that I want to try and replicate on my computer here, but I'm currently on 2B2T. So there are my cords if anyone's interested. But yeah, the hard drive in this thing is going bad. It's taking an incredibly long time to copy this world state that's only like, what, 4 megabytes? So yeah, the hard drive definitely needs to be replaced. I know for a fact it's not the thumb drive, even though this is a pretty old thumb drive. It's still a good thumb drive nonetheless. But yeah. So with that said, I'm going to I'm going to take the 500 gig drive I have laying around and plop it into this thing, give it a better hard drive, and also hopefully fix the slow copying and whatnot. One thing that makes me think this is an original console has never been molested is the fact the warranty sticker is completely intact and never messed with. And the hard drive cover is, again, I don't think it's ever been opened. This is basically an unmolested PS3. The only thing that's really wrong with this thing, other than the fact it needs a D-lid, is this little cover right here is loose. And it can easily pop off, which, of course, when I'm trying to record a video, it doesn't want to pop off, but you can hear it and whatnot. It's loose. That's the only major problem with this thing, other than, again, it needs a delidding. But again, for right now, I'm just going to replace the hard drive. This is a hard drive I'm going to be using in the PS3, but I'm actually copying data off the actual drive and whatnot. So I'm currently doing a backup of that drive before I completely format it for the console. With that said, my fishing rod died, so yeah. Actually, scratch that. I'm just going to go and take the thing apart right now and just do the deep cleaning and whatnot because this thing looks nasty. So I'm actually going to go out to the kitchen now. With that said, I'm going to also risk myself on 2B2T by going AFK. But considering I'm finding new chunks literally this far out and still fairly close to spawn, I think I'm going to be pretty much fine here. I just got to make sure the auto fishing doesn't bust like it just did for some dumb reason. Also, if you hear crunching noises in this video, this is why she has the worst timing ever. But with that said, when it comes to the console, one thing that definitely, this one definitely has a unique smell. It kind of smells like it came from a cat owner, if that's the easiest way I can place it. Owning cats has a unique smell compared to dogs. That's what this thing smells like. I just unscrewed the security screws, so now all I gotta do is I gotta pop the top panel off, release all the other screws, and then see how dusty this thing actually is. So I'm gonna go and get this all taken apart off camera. Well, the top really isn't that dusty. So maybe the inside may not be as atrocious, but I'll have to wait and see. I gotta figure out how to remove this thing though. There it goes. Is there a screw in there? I can't remember. I'll keep it off for now, I guess. This is ghetto as heck, but this is how I'm organizing the screws. This is the first PS3 I ever took apart. Well, not the first one, but this is my first fat ever taking it apart, so I don't want to mismatch screws and whatnot. But now I gotta pop this cover off. Gotta figure out how to do that. I watch a YouTube video and then come back. The top shell is fairly clean, and so is the inside of the console. I'm very impressed. And there is dirt here and there, but not to the extent I thought there would be. But with that said, there's just the upper portion. I've yet to actually get to the heatsink and whatnot. And of course, there has to be that one screw that just refuses to come out. So I guess I'll remove all this stuff and see if there's any other screws, and then try and remove that. Again, I'm doing the same concept as I did on the top. I'm pretty certain there's a few more screws in here I gotta map out, but I'll do that when I actually get the power supply and Blu-ray drive out. Well, it isn't no cockroaches, but there are bugs in this sucker. I'm surprised none of this is shorted. Holy shit. It is definitely a lot more dustier than I thought, but it's not as bad as a YouTuber I actually watched a few of his videos on these things. He had a real nasty one. But this one's pretty nasty on its own, but not to the extent that one is. Not good I didn't lose that screw. So place that screw there. I believe this is the Bluetooth USB Wi-Fi module little daughter board. And what the actual hell is this on the board? I mean, everything still works, but what the hell is this? Oh, God. The underside's fine, but what the hell? So I remove the shroud, and the only real dust I see is right here. The actual board itself is clean. And of course, I'm eyeing these four little bastards that I hope to God I never have to touch. And ew, there's an actual fucking dead bug in this thing. Holy hell. Alright, so I'm watching this video of how to apply thermal paste, and well, I kind of more or less mirrored it, and I'm just going to put the thing back in the case because that's exactly what he does.
His channel in the description below. I recommend checking him out, and good luck. Let me know how it goes.
Obviously, I hope this is all I need to do to get this thing to calm itself down, but unfortunately I might need to but like I said, I might need to delete it. Now, when it comes to actual delidding the thing, which one's the GPU? I believe it's this one. I can just heat this little section. I can just heat this. I can heat this IHS up for those that don't know, and I can just simply pry on it, just very lightly, very lightly and carefully, and it'll just pop off. But you gotta heat it up and whatnot. The CPU right here is a whole different story. It's a massive pain in the butt because of all the little tracing and whatnot. If you scratch just one of those little traces, the whole thing's dead. So when I actually go to do it, I'm actually going to be using some very thin 30-pound fishing line, which is something that a redditor on the PS3 Reddit page suggested for me to do when I go delid the CPU, and just use some and again, I'm not going to do it right now, but it's actually, from what I could tell, fairly easy to use fishing string. So I'm going to do that when I go to remove this. But like I said, I'm not doing that today. I just wanted to take the thing apart, clean it, and reapply some good thermal paste onto the actual top of the IHSs, and hope to God that this is enough to actually resolve the issues. Sorry about this video being rambling and whatnot, but I do want to kind of record my process. Obviously, when I do a delid, I'm actually going to record the whole thing. But since I'm just basically taking it apart, cleaning it, and putting it back together again, I'm not recording all the parts and whatnot. So I'll come back when I get the sucker put back together. Alright, I got the console back together. If everything works right, I should be able to turn it back on. Alright, we're good here, so let me grab a disc. And it looks like I got the PS3 all put back together and seems to be in full working order. The real question now is, what will happen when I play a little bit of Killzone? Will the thing start sounding like a jet engine, or will it actually be running cooler? I'll come back and we'll see. Alright, well, so far it's handling itself just fine. It is picking up on audio, on its noise, but it seems to be maintaining itself. But I need to play it for like 15 minutes and we'll see what really happens. So I'm more interested in watching Griffin's stream than the game itself, but I don't know how far in I actually am, but if you actually play this game, you'll know where exactly I'm at. And I've been playing for a good 15 to 10 minutes, and it really hasn't gotten any louder. So I might be able to get away with not delidding this console. All I had to do was just reapply thermal paste. Now, yes, it does make noise, and there's nothing I can do about that. But compared to the literal jet engine that this thing was doing initially, I'm very happy with this. And like I said, if I can get away with not delidding this console, I'm going to keep it this way. But I will have to maintain it. But with that said, I'm going to continue on with this game and see what happens down the road. So let's see. Griffin's been streaming now for 3 hours, and is what currently 2:04. So I'll come back at probably like 2:30, 2:45 or something like that, and we'll see what the noise level is like. Well, Griffin Gaming is being really good right now. We're currently watching a Spurg. With that said, I've actually have Killzone paused, and even in the pause menu, the thing, well, heats up. So I'm going to leave it like this for a while and actually continue watching Griffin because the Spurg is pretty spurgy. Well, it's 2:36. It took a lot longer for the thing to start sounding like a jet engine, but it's now sounding like a jet engine again. So I guess I kind of helped. So it still unfortunately needs a Delid, but at least it takes a little while longer for it to actually get to jet engine noise before well, yeah. It sucks I got delayed, but I'm not going to do it right now. There is one more thing I want to mention. That's how hot the console actually feels. Because prior to me taking this thing apart and whatnot, right here is actually fairly hot to the touch. It still feels warm, but it's not as noticeable. And another thing to note is the actual temperature of the air is significantly reduced. It's more cool than hot. I mean, I still feel the heat coming out, but not like it was initially. So maybe this thing is noisy no matter what when it's playing what's this stupid game called again? Killzone 3. But again, I never owned a PS3 Fat, so I don't know. I'm going to do a post on the Reddit page that's for the PS3 and ask there, and maybe someone will give me advice of what's going on. I really don't want to delid this thing, but if I do, I want to at least get away with deleting the GPU and ignoring the CPU. Hopefully someone on the Reddit page can let me know if I can get away with that, but I'll just have to wait and see. So with that said, now I need to get the new 500 gig drive set up in this console. So I'm gonna go figure that out off camera and come back. Another thing I'd like to mention is that prior to taking this thing apart, whenever I got done playing a game on it and shutting it down, it will make popping noises for like 5 or so minutes as it was cooling down. But now as I have it turned off, it hasn't done it since. And I was playing Killzone for a good maybe hour and a half or so. And this thing's been off now for about 5 minutes or so I can swap out the old drive for the new one. And I haven't heard a single pop come from this console. So I'm guessing most likely me just replacing it again was all it really needed. I again really don't want to do a delid, but I'm not certain. If I knew stuff like this was going to be warranted in this video, I would have actually recorded it, but I don't know. This video's already gone on long enough, but I got a little bit more to record, so I'll be surprised if anyone gets to this point anyways. Sony just likes to make stuff hard. I had multiple issues getting this PS3 to finally detect the stinking update file after plopping in the 500 gig drive. This PS3 even managed to nuke the SanDisk drive. It detects on the computer, but it doesn't show up. Something with the PS3 just nuked this thumb drive. Now, I haven't tried it on my Windows 10 PC, so let me actually go and plug it in and see what happens. If I can actually get the... So the thing clearly detects, but if I open up the Windows Manager bar thing here, it doesn't show up. I have my NVMe drive and my 1 terabyte mechanical spin drive, but this thumb drive here is refusing to work. So most likely what I need to do is I need to download a disk utility. So let me get all that set up. Oh yeah, it took a little bit, but Windows even came up with a little can't recognize drive and whatnot. Somehow this PS3 utterly fucking nuked this drive. At least it didn't nuke that one, but it's a real shame it nuked this one. Well, somehow the drive is back alive. This PS3 did something to this drive and now it seems to be showing itself on the computer. Maybe it was like, oh shit, I was going to get formatted, I might as well show myself. So at least now I can actually pull off my saves and whatnot. Which really isn't much, just Killzone in a Minecraft world that actually got stupid crazy spawn on, but that's more or less this video, and apparently that's not going to do its job because I tell it to go away and it doesn't go away. So there's going to be a nice little edit right there, or some type of censoring of some sort. Plug the thumb drive back in and see what happens. Oh, there it goes. Sony just likes to make stuff hard, don't they? Freaking company. And it looks like everything went through without an issue other than nuking that thumb drive for a little bit. So now I just need to sign in again and get everything else all set up, and yeah. Okay, yeah, I can definitely say for certain the original 40 gig drive is going bad. This 500 gig drive, which is pretty old on itself, is significantly faster. Also, I now have 500 gigs of storage. I would actually like to go for a 1 terabyte drive, but I'm not going to do that until I make sure this console is in full working order and finally do a delid and whatnot. But for right now, everything does seem to be working as it should, and installing that update was incredibly quick. It took like a good 5 minutes for this hard drive here to do the exact same thing. So yeah, this drive is definitely showing its age, but at least now I got myself a new hard drive in this stupid little console and whatnot. It's been a few days since I initially recorded and got this video rendered out. And that time I've been testing this thing out a little bit more, and at the very least I'm going to delid the GPU right now. So even though this video is going on relatively long, I'm not going to record the whole process of popping this thing apart again. I'll come back when I actually pop this thing apart and do the delid. Alright, I'm going to try and delid my Alright, so I'm going to try and delid the GPU on my PS3. This is going to be relatively long, so be warned. I'm going to ignore the CPU for now because I don't feel comfortable pulling it off yet. Mainly because I don't have any actual fishing string and whatnot. Now the GPU is supposed to be relatively easy, so I'm just going to use the hairdryer and see what happens. Who would have thought? God, I did not like the way that popped out. I'm definitely using the fishing line method if I didn't somehow kill this console. I don't think I did because all the resistors look fine and all the traces look fine, but still. That Now, granted, in every single video you see of someone ripping off the IHSs on these things, which you really can't see right here, every single video you see when someone's ripping this off, you see that that the whole tool just jerks like that. It's it it's freaking scary as hell. So yeah, I'm definitely going to be very slow with the CPU if I ever delid this. Freaking hell, that was scary. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clean this thing off camera and put it back together and hope to God this thing works. I know I said I'll come back when I get the thing back together, but there's two things I need to mention. One, I had to swap to some of the Insignia thermal paste I got because the Noctua stuff, I'm out of it, unfortunately. I did not have enough. And also what I did to help make sure the IHS stays in place, I have some clear tape on the edges right here. And it's very, very minute to where it shouldn't interfere with the actual heat spreading or heat soaking of the IHS to the heat sinks and whatnot. Now I'm probably going to do this exact same method when I do the CPU, but for right now I need to get this thing back together and see if it works. I'm pretty certain it does, but again, me just popping it like that scares the crap out of me, especially considering this is the first time I ever did this. And I don't know if I accidentally killed this thing or not. I don't think I did, but you just never know. Well, I got it back together, and I completely forgot to put the system battery back in. Fug me. Well, with that said, I'm going to make sure I didn't kill this thing. And once I make sure I didn't kill this thing, I'll pop the back cover off again, and then put the stupid battery back in there. But first I need to make sure I didn't kill this. Alright, now to see what happens. Good sign. Fans are spinning, that's normal. Yay, I didn't fucking nuke my console. Now I just gotta put the clock battery back in and close her all back up. Fucking hell, I hate doing delids. And this is my first ever. With that said, obviously I'm going to again make sure I know exactly what I'm doing before I even touch that CPU. So with that said, I'm going to turn her off, get her put back together, and come back. Alright, so everything is back together again. Let's turn her on and hope that she still works. Yep, everything's back in full working order again. So I somehow managed to delid this thing, reapply new good thermal paste with a little bit of some crappier stuff. And I got myself a working PS3 that hopefully is going to be able to keep itself cooler. Alright, so I decided to play a little bit of Minecraft to see what would happen. It's making noise still, which is to be expected, but it seems to be a little bit more maintained. With that said though, I've yet to try Killzone 3 yet. But for right now, everything seems to be fine. And it is definitely a lot more hotter now coming out of the back than last time. So reapplying the thermal paste to the GPU absolutely did something. And of course, when I actually put the hand back here where the actual heat sinks are, it's fairly warm to the touch. Now I even have these little now I even have a little area right here I might eventually cut out for a nice little intake hole for the cooling fan. But I'm going to do that later on. For right now, I just need to make sure I actually have this thing in full working order still and see what happens when I play Killzone. But with that said, the console seems to be in working order again.